Hi, I'm Mark Seymour. Thank you for coming to the gallery opening this evening. And just to tell you a bit about what we have here, we have a gallery of 20 images at the Andepa Gallery in Knightsbridge. The Andepa Gallery has been going since 1967, and the Andepa family have been art traders since the 15th century, so we're in real good hands. And I was kind of shocked when Andepa offered me his space for a whole month to put on this exhibition. And then when we started putting it up a couple of weeks ago, it suddenly hit home when we started taking down original Banksy's, original Damien Hirst, original Warhol's, and putting up Mark Seymour's work. But so far as the exhibition we have here, it's to raise awareness for Alzheimer's. It's a project that I did of my father, and I say a project, but it's quite wrong to say that really, because when I started out, it's the last thing I had in my mind that these images would ever see the light of day. They were taken because I'm a documentary photographer, and it's my mum and dad, and I just always take pictures of my family. But I think the reason they're so strong is because they're shot from the heart, and they're shot with no preconception. And here we are now that they're traveling around the world far more than my dad did. The exhibition came about. I was contacted by Curation Andepa, who went to another gallery of mine sponsored by Virgin Money, and he asked me to come along and show him some of my work. And I took along some of my wedding work, and I took along all my work from India and Sicily, believing that's what he would want to see. And we went through all that, and he said, well, where's your work on dementia and Alzheimer's that I've seen? And I said, well, I don't really show that to a lot of people anymore. And he said, can I see it? And so I showed it to him, and a tear came to his eye, and he just looked at me and he said, would you like to exhibit it here? And I looked back at him and I just said, are you joking? And he said, no, not at all. He said, I think it's a really strong set of work. And I'd already had that affirmation from one of the guys at Magnum who'd said it's one of the strongest set of prints he'd seen on this subject. But Acris said, well, when do you want to have this exhibition? And I said, well, the obvious month is September, because it's World Alzheimer's Month. I said, so it would tie in really well, and we could get the support from the Alzheimer's Association, and we could make a really good month of it and get lots of awareness. He made a couple of calls and just said, yep, let's go for it. And here we are now. We're actually live, and the exhibition is here, and I'm kind of living the dream. It's like this sort of thing has never happened to me before, and it's just amazing, and I'm loving every bit of this sort of having my work shown at a gallery. But underneath that is a very serious message. We really want to raise both awareness for Alzheimer's, and also we're trying to raise money for Alzheimer's. So we do have a Just Giving page that please feel free to go on and donate. The selection of the images was quite a difficult task, because as you can imagine, over a 2 or 3 years period, hundreds and hundreds of images were taken, in fact thousands of images, and they were really edited down hard. The final selection, I had about 30 to 40 images, and Kevin Wilson approached me, a very well-known photographer, and said, you ought to put these in for a fellowship. And I said, can you help me make the selection and talk about prints and etc., or the right type of paper? And so I went down to see him at his home, and we sat down for a couple of hours, and we went through and drilled down to 20 images that weren't necessarily the best images, but 20 images that told the best story. So there's images that are missing that maybe are strong, but they won't fit in and tell the story naturally. So we wanted to try and tell a story in 20 images. Big, huge thank you to Kevin Wilson for that. And then subsequently, I was offered or given a fellowship for these pictures with both the societies and the Guild of Photographers. I think the reason this body of work is strong is because it tells a story. It's very of the moment. You know, everyone is aware of dementia and Alzheimer's, whereas 3-4 years ago they weren't. It's something that we need to raise even more awareness about. And then the other reason it's so strong is I think it was shot from the heart. It wasn't shot as a project. There was no rules about it, and it was just, you know, me shooting my father. So, you know, I was close to the subject, and I found it relatively easy to take the pictures, but the real difficulty came when you were editing the pictures, and I sat in front of the screen, and that's when the tears would come, when you were there, convert them into black and white, manipulate them, and realising, you know, this is Dad here. Yeah, Dad was you know, a very keen amateur photographer. Dad had his own darkroom, come the bathroom, that was set up sort of once a week or so, and so I did some sort of developing very early on. I was given my first camera at 4 years old, and I only found out literally a few years ago that it never had any film in it. I was just given a box brownie, and I used to go around taking pictures of everyone, probably really annoyingly, but hey, that's where I started. The family are really supportive. You know, I spoke to Mum at length about the images, and she saw them develop, and you know, she said, "Oh, show them to the Alzheimer's Society, or show them to the home, show them what you're doing." And you could see the power of them because of the reaction as it was developing. And then when Dad passed, you know, about 6 months after, I got a call from the Alzheimer's Association asking if they could use some of the images. And we had a long conversation, and Mum just said, "Look, we need to raise awareness for this." And so she's fully supportive of it. She's been here 2 weeks ago to see the gallery, and she's here tonight on the opening evening. And you know, I'm sure it's gonna be a hard evening for her, but it's gonna be a lovely evening. But there's some images around here of her husband, you know, a best friend, a soulmate, that really show him in a lovely light. Especially, you know, the first one as you walk in the gallery, or the last one as you leave, just shows Dad or Ronnie to her as she wants to remember him. I think if you're embarking on a personal project, it's great if you are really close to the subject, because it just lets you go to that next level of intimacy. Having said that, I don't think it's the most important thing. I think the most important thing, if you're photographing a project or documentary pictures, is to do it from the heart, because the best images come from the heart. The best images are shot not necessarily when you plan them, but they just happen from you being there, seeing it, and enjoying what you're doing. And if you can take that away with you, and it doesn't matter what camera you've got, whether it be a Nikon, a Fuji, a Sony, or whatever, shoot from the heart, shoot what you want to shoot, and you know, do it over a little period, and keep going back to it, and you will get a great set of pictures. If I look at the panel of 20 images, I think the 3 most powerful images are the first one with Dad outside his home, you know, almost in a He-Man type pose, because that's Dad. And you know, if Dad was here tonight, he'd be high-fiving everyone, saying, "If you see me, look, I'm famous." And then the other really 2 powerful images, I think, is the last one, which was shot you know, 3 or 4 weeks before he left us. And then the other powerful one is the one with the harmonica. And it's really important, the harmonica one, because you know, a lot of Alzheimer's patients relate to music and have an affiliation with that with an instrument. So that's why the Alzheimer's Association has picked up on that image and want to use it as a key image in some of their promotional work. So tonight we've got a beautiful harmonica donated by Anthony Danica. Dad used to play the harmonica, and Anthony Danica saw my images on Facebook and made contact with me, and said, you know, "I'm really impressed with the images. I just love what you're doing to raise awareness for the Alzheimer's Association." He just said, "I'd love to gift you a harmonica." And I said, well, I don't play. And he said, I'd just have a go, or, do what you want with it. And a couple of days later, through the post, became a gold-plated harmonica. And I thought, wow. And I looked at his website, and we looked at it, and then I started seeing all these names in the music industry, like Huey Lewis. And Danica harmonicas are, if you like, the Rolls Royce of harmonicas. You have a Hohner, and then you have Danica. It's a bit like having a Mini and a Rolls Royce. They're all handmade. They're all tuned for particular musicians, and they really are, the best in the world. And Anthony has been absolutely fabulous and really generous, and he's donated another harmonica for us to auction tonight to raise money for the Alzheimer's Association. So later on this evening, we've got a Toastmaster doing the auction, and we'll have Anthony in there, and hopefully, we'll sell it for lots of money, and all that money is going to go to the Alzheimer's Association. I think it's every photographer's dream to have an exhibition, and I've been fortunate. This is my 4th exhibition now, and each one has got a little bit bigger, a little bit grander. The first one was in Windsor, then the next one was in Soho, and then the next one was sponsored by Virgin Money, and now I have this one at the Andepa Gallery, which is a fine art gallery in the heart of London, in Knightsbridge. I think if you're looking to exhibit your work or get your work taken on by a gallery, you need to start off local, you need to start off small, maybe libraries, local art exhibitions. I don't think there's a lot of point in trying to approach an Andepa straight away. I think it's a gradual step process, a bit like everything. You can't just go into the Premiership if you're a football team. You need to start off in the lower divisions and work your way up. And I've been very lucky in meeting some of the good people, right people, I should say, in the industry. And, people have seen my work and they've offered to exhibit it. So I don't know if that's the great answer that you're looking for, but, start off small and work your way up.